Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this Razer laptop. This is an RZ09-0168. The full model is RZ09-0168-2E24. Alright, so we're going to be using a T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver to remove the screws from the bottom. Okay, the reason we're working on this laptop is because the fan is making some noises. And we're going to see if we can repair the fan. Oh, looks like some screws are missing here. Okay, so we're just going to remove the ones that aren't missing, obviously. You want to keep the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that is I put them flat side down like that on my desk in the pattern I remove them. Since these screws do seem to be disappearing, I might end up using some thread locker, most likely the red thread locker, to hold them in place. Some people are like, oh, if you do that, the screws are going to get stuck. That's not going to happen. If you notice, they put blue thread locker on here, and that's not even good enough. You see these screws are just falling out. So yeah, I'm not going to just put blue thread locker again on there and then hope that it stays in place, because obviously 3 of the screws on this side all fell out. So yeah, we're going to use the red stuff, and because it's on such small screws, it's not going to get stuck in there. I know a lot of people think it will, but it's not, alright? It's only more permanent for like cars where they have giant bolts. So on this Razer laptop, it has little clips and latches that hold the back side of this cover in place. So when you open this, you do have to slide this back like this, okay? So here are the 2 little plastic latches, and then the metal thing here. This metal piece hooks underneath this metal that bridges the 2 fans. So make sure you don't just try and rip it up. Okay, the fan is right here. Right now it doesn't make any sound, but when they had it on, it makes like some grind. Oh, there's 2 fans. Okay, so there's this fan. This is probably the bad one, because this one you can see spins perfectly fine. Like, it just keeps spinning nonstop. Alright, anyways, let me get a close-up for you guys to see, and then I'm going to go ahead, or let me get a thumbnail real quick, and then I'm going to dust this off. It looks like the heatsink is on top, so that will make this at least easier to remove. Nice. A lot of times I see they put the heatsink underneath, but this one is not bad. Anyways, I'm going to dust the thing off, and I'll be back. Basically, I'll loosen the dust with a toothbrush, and then use an electric air blower to blow all the stuck dust away. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, so I'm back. We cleaned out the dust. Okay, cleaned out the dust there. I found some screws that will probably fit well. So when we go to put it back together, I'll use some other screws there. Okay, I don't have any that match exactly, but hopefully it's close enough. Alright, so let's go ahead now and disconnect the battery. So we're going to zoom in here. The battery connector looks to be this guy. Okay. So the connector, looks like they put a little rubber thing on top to kind of help pinch it down. So we're going to have to carefully peel this up. You want to be careful because it's stuck down on top of this, which I believe is... Seriously, is that the SSD? I think it might be. Alright, anyways, let's go ahead and peel this up. Okay, you can see this is coming out here. And we got to be careful because they stuck it down onto this chip. So try and hold that chip down while you peel this up, and we can pull this back. Alright, so the battery connector is right there. We're going to open up the laptop and then press and hold the power button to drain any residual power. Alright, usually after disconnecting the battery, you want to press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds to drain any residual power. This makes it a lot safer to work on. Some people ask me, do they need to do that? I mean, if you don't want to take 15 seconds to make it a lot safer to work on your computer, I don't recommend opening your computer, because then you're going to end up frying something. So there you go, 15 seconds. Alright, anyways, I'm just going to go over the little components in here. We're not going to completely take this apart. Actually, this might be just the RAM, sorry, not the... That's the RAM, I believe. Okay, so they have an M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD under here. There's a screw here. Again, we're just going to be working on the fan, but since we got to take other stuff out, we'll see about showing that. Okay, so we're going to remove this connector, which is most likely the LCD, LVDS, or EDP or whatever cable. This is for the screen. We're going to pull up on this. Usually if it doesn't come up, I like to get my fingernail under a corner here, while I'm kind of pulling it and then help pry it up. Okay, so this one, wow, it's really flush down to the computer, so it's harder to get under there. Let's try from the front here, but you want to do a corner, and there we go. All right, that came out nicely. And they got all this adhesive all over here, so we're gonna have to carefully peel this stuff up. I have this little tool here I'm gonna just use to help kind of lift it. Usually you kind of want to slowly walk the adhesive, so if you can, just slowly pull a little at a time. Okay, just like this. Alright, wow, this is being a pain. Alright, now that I got that, I'm going to use my fingernails and pinch and peel it up. And there we go. Alright, so we got that peeled away. Okay, and if you want, you can peel the rest out here. Alright, this kind of tape usually just tears, so it looks like we got lucky and it just came all out. Also, if you're wondering, the battery model number, let's see, Hazel, where's the model? GB, I don't think it's that. Is there no normal? It's a BYD battery, okay. I don't know if it's this, 3ICP4, -92-77, okay. Usually there's a different, maybe it's this GB31241-2014. There's a bunch of random numbers here. It could also be this tiny number here, which is XU10062-15001A, okay. This is AS number, which is Q31, right? Is that a Q or 0? No, 031-776-036-0361. There's also this model information, CN-B-4-Hazel-63T-01817. Okay, there's lots of numbers on here. I'm not sure what's the actual model number. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and use a PH1 or JS1 screwdriver to remove the screws holding the battery in place. So there's 4 screws, it looks like. Actually, there's more, huh? So there's 2 on the side here, 2 at the bottom here. Oh, it looks like the screws do come out. It was like staying in at first. So make sure you get these screws out so you don't drop them somewhere. Okay, or is it because that plastic is broken, huh? See, okay, it comes out. This one, the plastic here is kind of broken, you can see. That means they don't design it right. So actually the screw pinched the plastic and broke it. Alright, it looks like it's like that on the bottom here as well. Alright, again, keep all the screws in order because they are different size, shape, and lengths. Okay, these screws are different from the bottom case screws. And we have 2 more screws going along the side here. Okay, so we got the 6 screws out. Make sure this adhesive is peeled off. And, oh, there's some more adhesive here that we're going to have to peel off as well. So be careful when peeling this up. We're going to go from here and lift it up. Okay, try and get a corner here, and then we can carefully peel this. Be careful with this cable. I'm going to hold this down while I peel this back. And there we go. Okay, now we can actually use this piece of tape as a lift tab. Alright, and here we go. Oh, they had a piece of tape under the SSD as well. Interesting, but here you go. We have the battery out. There's no information on the bottom, so hopefully the model number is one of those things that we got there. Okay, there's lots of like crumbs and dust here. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and peel this tape out. Sorry, let me zoom in again. Alright, because it's on top of the fan that we need to work on, so we'll peel this out, lift that up. I'm going to grab that and then just carefully kind of roll the adhesive. Okay, and same thing with this cable. If you're going to peel this, hold this down so you don't damage the cable. Okay, and there we go. Okay, now we have this cable up and out of the way. Alright, so the fan, I think we can remove without taking the whole heatsink out. We'll see. Otherwise, we're going to have to redo their thermal paste. I know somebody's probably going to be like, you already opened it that far, why don't you just redo their thermal paste? And it's because if I do that job, I have to charge the customer for that work and the materials. And yeah, I don't like upselling people unless their computer's having issues like overheating or something, then I'm not gonna redo it. All right, we're gonna remove these screws. I don't know if this is a little separate plate. Oh yes, it is. Okay, so this metal piece comes separate, so we gotta take this out. Actually, does it come separate? It feels like, okay, there you go. Okay, so this piece comes separate, so make sure you remove that. Okay, and as you can see, it has the shape there, so you know which way it goes. Okay, it goes like that. Okay, why'd I stick it back in there? All right, anyways, let me use some tweezers to get that out, or we can use the tape. Either way, you see that? You don't even need tools for this. Okay, we're gonna set that little bracket aside. Then we got two more screws. We did switch to a PH0 or JIS0 screwdriver in case you didn't know or didn't notice. I don't know if I mentioned it. Okay, so we're gonna get that screw out, and then we got one screw up here we're gonna remove as well. Okay, so now that we got all those screws out, let's see, can we lift the fan out? And we can. The fan connector is right here, so we're gonna flip this latch up. Once you flip that latch up, we can go ahead and lift this, and be careful with this connector. Make sure to pull it out. Okay, so grab here and then pull it back, and now we have this up, and we can go ahead and slide this out. And here is the fan. Okay, you can see how bad it is, and also it's very dirty and gross on here. So I'm gonna have to clean this fan. I'm just gonna use a toothbrush and scrub it. Okay. Okay, you can see how bad this fan is. It doesn't spin well. It looks like we're gonna have to cut these little plastic pieces off to separate the metal plate from it, and then we're gonna try and clean it up and get it working. Okay, I'm gonna brush this up just to get that dust in there out. Okay, and let's use this air blower thing I have. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. We're gonna use that to kind of dust it out. Okay, looks like there's some dust stuff there, so make sure to get that out. Okay, so there we go, we got that out. Again, there is another fan here. This fan, if you want to remove, has a little connector here. This one, it slides out. Okay, so you see how it slides like that? Let me see if I can zoom in here to show you a little bit better. So this has a sliding mechanism, so make sure that when you go to remove this fan, okay, you slide this bracket out, and this cable then can slide out, but we're gonna slide it back in. Okay, just like that, pinch the two pieces together, and now it's latched. So they make these different designs, so if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna end up trying to pry that, and then you break it, and then your fan won't work. But what else? Okay, we have the SSD hiding underneath this. Okay, so I guess I'll show this a little bit. We got this, you pop it up on that side and pop it up on this side. Try and get underneath. You can use pry tools. I use fingernails because I can feel better what's happening. You see, you don't want to just lift this up because it's going to pull the board up. So hold that down and then pull it up like that. And there is the connector. All right, so this uses, I think it's also a PH0, but let's double check. Yeah, it's a PH0 or JIS0 screwdriver. We're gonna undo the screw. Sorry. And once you undo the screw, you can actually lift this up and you can pull this out. Okay. There's this adhesive on top. So I kind of don't want to, let's see. We'll peel this off. So you have to unstick it from here. Again, hold down the board and carefully wiggle it side to side like this to peel it away. Okay, again, make sure you hold this down. And there you go. Now it's no longer stuck there. You can go ahead and lift this up and pull this out, okay? This tape stuff isn't necessary, so if you put a new SSD, don't bother with this stuff. I mean, if you want to make it match, you can go ahead and peel it off and put it as well. You got a speaker connector here. Let me show you that real quick. Let's go ahead and get this piece back in. Okay. Also, if you're wondering how this board is connected here, it's from that cable that went over the top of the SSD. Okay, let's go ahead and get this cable back out over the SSD. This is the one of the wireless antennas, so make sure this goes back out over, okay? And then this goes back in. And hold this down in place while you push the SSD back in. And we will line this back up and get the screw back in. Okay, so hold that in place, and then we'll get this screw back in. Okay, we can stick that back down. The speaker here, the connector, to remove it, you have to get underneath, and then make sure you're not prying the outside. I don't know if you can see, but you can see there's just this middle piece here. You want to get underneath, and to remove the speaker, I go underneath with my fingernail, get as close as I can to the connector. Make sure, again, that you're not prying the outside piece here, and then you just lift this up. You can see how it's coming out, okay? And it should pop out. I want to be careful with this because they're not having any speaker issues, so I'm not going to pop it out. If you want to see how this comes out, I have other MacBooks and stuff that use the same kind of connector. You can also use like a little tool like this to get underneath, and then you can poke in the middle and pull it up from there. But yeah, I don't want to mess with that because sometimes these connectors, because they're so small, the solder doesn't hold well and it can rip this off the board. So unless I need to take it out, I'm not going to take it out. Okay, there are 2 screws holding the speakers in place. So one screw up there and one screw there if you need to replace the speaker. The LEDs for the activity lights are here. There's a flip latch on this side to pull the cable out. And they have this whole board here for the keyboard and everything. All right, so there's 2, oops, sorry, can't even see what I'm doing. So there's 2 things that go to the keyboard board here, and then this cable goes from this board here to here. I'm not gonna peel this up. There's also these 2 little cables here. Pretty sure those are for the backlight of the keyboard. Okay, again, I don't wanna mess around with that because they're not broken. This one's the touchpad trackpad connector with a flip latch. Let me zoom in here. So the flip latch is on this side, the black connector, so you get under there and flip that up. All right, this one, the flip latch is on this side. You got the wireless card here, antennas to remove. You go from the tail and pull straight up. Another speaker connector right there. You got the CMOS BIOS RTC real-time clock battery here. This connector has wings that I just use my fingernails, wiggle and pull it out. Take note, if you're replacing it, the black cable is going towards the center of the computer and the red wire is going towards the outside. This, let me see if I can show you. Gotta be careful here, I don't want to damage anything. Try and peel this up to see if I can show you what kind of battery this is. This is a, what is that? Leasing ML122V or something. I don't know. It's all like damaged or covered with the gross residue of the adhesive. I think it's ML1220. All right, I don't know, it's kind of messed up there. All right, then you got the headphone jack, USB port, and the USB-C port. They're connected to the board with this cable that you can flip up. All right, you also got 2 little cables here that are under the tape. These are like the CMOS BIOS connector. You basically grab there and you can pull those out. I'm pretty sure those are for like the camera and things like that. Okay, I don't know if this has touchscreen. Okay, this one says camera. This one says, I don't know what the other one is, but this one, the top one, says camera. Maybe the other one's for microphones or something. But yeah, we're not going to mess with that. You also have this connector, which I think is for the power. Yeah, power connector, so power button. And I think that's all to show in here. Okay, let's go ahead and see about taking the fan apart. Usually I'll either use a razor blade. We'll see if I can do it with the end cutters, the flat, what do you call? With these little cutters, okay? So these are flush cutters, all right? Anyways, we're gonna have to cut the plastic pieces here. So there's 1, 2, 3, I don't know if you can see it, there you go. 4, 5, 6, and one more 7 here. Okay, so let's see if we can use this to cut it. We're just going to cut it flush. Usually I'll either use, if this doesn't work, I'm going to have to use the, yeah, I don't know if this is going to work because it's so flat to the thing. Okay, so I'm going to use a razor blade here, or whatever you call these blades. Okay, so I'm going to use this, and we're basically going to cut this flat plastic piece off. You want to kind of angle it a little bit down towards the fan. Okay, I think they have a layer of something on top of it, but we're going to cut this off. Okay, so we're cutting just the top portion of it off, so that way we can actually separate this. Okay, I don't know if it's not going to come out yet because there's so many of these, but we're cutting this so that the excess that sticks out over the top will not be covering that anymore. Okay, be careful with this wire, you don't want to cut that. And then we're going to go ahead and cut the top of this one off as well. Okay, all right, then we got the other one over here. We're just going to go all the way around. Be careful not to cut yourself. If you want, you can cut away from yourself, but yeah, I feel I have more control pulling it this way. So we'll cut that one off. Got this one here. This off. Okay, and we got this one over here. We'll cut this off. Again, I have to angle it slightly down towards the fan. All right, and then we got this last one over here. I'm gonna have to use my right hand. I am left-handed, in case you're wondering. All right, and then we're gonna cut down towards that. Oh, is it cutting into the fan thing? So we gotta have it a little more flat since it's cutting into it. And there we go. Okay, so we got all those little pieces cut off. Let's toss that. And let's see if we can now separate the 2 layers here. So hopefully we cut enough of it out and we can separate this. Wow, it's still stuck on there. Did they use something to glue it? There's some gross gunk stuck in there as well. Let me try and use some tweezers to get the gunk out. Okay. All right, so this, how did they seal this on? Does look like there's a metal plate on top that we should be able to separate here. So we're gonna, oh, okay, I just had to pull a little harder. Okay, if you want, you can get like a flathead screwdriver under here. I'm gonna get my fingernail in there, or you can use a pry tool. Okay, and now I'm just gonna separate these 2 layers here. You see that? Okay, work my way around. Okay. Oh, some of the plastic was still there. That's why it wasn't coming out. Okay, so now we got this metal plate off. You can clean the inside here. And you can see there's some dust also stuck in there. I'm gonna zoom out here so you can kind of see a little bit more. And maybe use this for a thumbnail. Okay, so there we go. We gotta get all this dust out of here. Gross. Okay, but dust isn't going to be usually what's causing it to not spin properly. Usually what's going on is the grease is bad, and usually it gets bad because of smoke or humidity or something that gets in the grease, and over time it just messes it up. I'm holding the fan slightly and then brushing this. And hopefully this fan will be repairable, because not all fans are repairable. Sometimes the way they mount it onto the thing here is too strong, okay? And we're not going to be able to pull this out. Let's see here. So, oh, it comes out very easily. So usually, when you see how I lifted it off, you have to very gently pull this up. To be safe, I usually recommend going from the other side and pushing on the central ring, because that's where it's like solid plastic. If you just pull on the propeller, sometimes if you're not careful, you can snap the blades off. So I would go from the back here with my fingernails going towards the center, and then just push it back. You want to have it direct, like side by side. Okay, so we're gonna have to go from this side so you can have it directly like side by side. If you have one here and you push here, it's gonna push at a weird angle and then it won't come out. So go here, and even that, it's kind of tough. I need longer nails for this actually. So we're gonna continue and do it just lifting from here, okay? Luckily it comes out very easily, and what we need to do is we need to clean this out and then put new grease. Some people ask me, like, why don't I use isopropyl alcohol in there? And the reason is because it can flow out easily here and it's conductive. Because there's some water, I don't want it to kind of get all in there. I mean, usually it's okay if you want to do that, but I'd rather not have stuff flow out everywhere that's super liquidy. Okay, so I just use a paper towel like this, twist it around. You can see this gray stuff coming out. Okay, and now we're gonna go ahead and clean this as well. All right, and what I do is I use like a folded out paper clip or something that can fit in that hole. Okay, and we're gonna dip this in some grease oil. Like, you want to use an oil that's designed for moving parts. I just use the grease that used to be for my old vehicle, okay, because I have like car oil, motor oil, and I no longer have that vehicle. So I use that to grease this up. All right, we'll clean this a little bit more. You want to be very careful because the copper wires here are very fragile, and if you accidentally rip these, it's no longer gonna work, okay? So anyways, I don't know if you saw how the fan spins right now. Let me see if I can show you that. We'll get it back on. Okay, so let's see. Actually, now that I pulled it out, it's a lot better since I wiped the thing a little bit. You can kind of see, okay? And the way you know the fan's good, I don't know if you can see how it wobbles like that, okay? So usually you want it to wobble like that. You see here now, sometimes it has issues. So we're gonna go ahead and again put new grease in there and clean it out and then redo it a few times. Okay, so here we go. I guess let's zoom out so we can have a thumbnail with all the pieces. Okay, let's see, how can I don't know how to do the thumbnail for this actually. Maybe like that. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Anyways, let me go get the oil and I'll be back. Alright, so I'm just going to use this 5W30 synthetic motor oil. You can use any kind of grease that's meant for moving parts, okay? So you can use like sewing machine oil or something like that. Anyways, what I do is I tilt the bottle over and then I use this to kind of dip it so that I get some oil on there. In this case, because this fan is so small, you don't need a big drop. You just need a tiny bit on the tip there. Okay, and we're just gonna get it in the center. Okay, and I just kind of push the oil in like that, and then we can use a piece of paper to kind of soak up the stuff that's coming out. And then once you do that, we're gonna go ahead and put this on top. Get it back in, make sure you line it up right before you press it down. Again, you don't wanna damage the copper things. And then you can spin it. You can see how much better it spins now. You see that? Okay, and also if you wobble it, you see that? How everywhere I turn it, like if I move it a little more, it's way more wobbly. That's what you want, okay? We're gonna go ahead and separate this again. And what we're gonna do now, we're gonna clean off the oil from here, and we'll put a little bit more oil. You wanna clean this and then take a look at it. If it's gray like this or greenish or whatever, that means it's still dirty. So we're gonna do that, put some oil, and then repeat until it's clean. Okay, so we'll do this again. We don't need that much oil on there. Okay, repeat. Clean off the excess. Again, be careful with the copper wires. They're super thin and you can easily damage them. All right, line this back up, stick it down, spin it around a little bit. Okay, carefully lift it back up. Get another piece of paper, and we're gonna wipe it again and see if it's clean or if it's still gray. Okay, you can see there's a little bit of greenness to it, so we're going to repeat. And we're just going to do this until it just comes out yellow. If you're using like sewing oil, I believe the oil's clear, so you'll be able to see the color very easily. All right. Okay, so we'll get this on again. Spin it around. But yeah, it's much, much better now. Okay. Pull this back out. Okay. So this side already has the greenness. We're going to fold it over and then do it again. And let's take a look. Okay, you can see now it's almost all completely just the yellow oil. So probably one more time, clean it up, and then we should be good to go. Okay. All right, let's do this again. All right. Clean the oil off here. Alright, we're going to use a new paper this time so we can see. Line this up, drop it down, spin it around. Okay, pull it back up. Let's go ahead and grab that, spin it, take a look. Alright, and there you can see, it's just yellow now. So we should be good. We'll put a tiny bit more oil, put it back together, and we should be good to go. Okay. Again, this thing doesn't take much oil in here. All right. We're gonna now clean this up. I'm gonna wipe this off, get it back in there, and you can see the oil is not coming out while I do that, so that should be good. Go ahead and dry off the excess around the outside. Good. Let's go ahead and now put the laptop back together. We should be good to go, okay? So we're gonna put this fan back together just like that. Drop it in place, spin it around. Okay, you can see how much more smooth it spins and how much more smooth it wobbles. Hopefully the camera picks up the wobble. Like if I pull it slightly and let go, you see how it wobbles? That's how you know it's good. Okay, anyways, now we're gonna go ahead and put this fan back together. We're gonna use some tape to hold it. You don't have to use the melted plastic stuff that they had on there before. Okay, so let's go ahead now and put this back. Just line this up. Okay, it has the raised plastic pieces. Push that down. Okay. And it's usually not going to stick back together just from the remaining plastic. So yeah, but make sure, I don't know if you can see the gap there. Make sure that you line it up and push it down. Oh, actually this is gonna hold itself together. You can hear it click. So when I push it, you hear it click. Okay, you hear that? So normally it doesn't click like that when we go to put it back together. So this one, okay, this piece is not wanting to go back completely. So I might have to use a flathead screwdriver or something to push the outer edge. Push that, okay, and I can actually feel it gripping. So this, I think I didn't cleanly cut completely, so it's not snapping in like the other ones. But there we go. Push it all back together. Looks good. All right, I'm going to use a small flathead screwdriver here. All right, let's zoom in. And basically I'm going to try and push around the outer edges to hold that. This piece, it didn't go all the way flat, so I'm going to try and push this down around it. Yeah, it's not wanting to completely go around. I'm just going to flatten it like this. Okay, and this guy as well. And this guy. There we go. Okay. So now it's all flat. We'll probably use some tape as well just to make sure, but as you can see, if I pull on it, it holds together pretty well. This side's coming up a little. All right. So now we're going to use a little bit of tape to help hold it so that it's less likely to pop out. Okay. So we'll zoom out here. Use scissors. We're just going to get some tape here. Okay. This is just packaging tape. I know somebody's going to comment saying, won't it melt? No, it's not going to melt, okay? If your fans are getting hot enough to melt the tape, then your computer should already be dead, because the tape, I'm pretty sure it can handle higher temperatures than boiling water, which is 100 degrees Celsius. And yeah, the computer will shut itself off if the processor itself reaches 100 degrees Celsius. So the fan should not even be getting anywhere near 100 degrees Celsius, okay? Anyways, we're going to stick a portion of the tape onto there, and then we're going to wrap it over and stick that down. That little screw metal plate is going to help hold this as well. So yeah, all right. And if you want, you can wrap it around everywhere that you have those little cut pieces of plastic. Okay, so we're going to stick that on there. Like that, and then wrap it around. Alright. Again, the plastic, the little tabs are kind of already holding itself in place, but we're going to go ahead and stick it to make it even stronger. That way it won't come back out. Okay. Cut this guy. Stick this one on, wrap that over. Okay, stick that on, wrap that over. Alright, this side we can't really put all the way, well, we can put it slightly to the edge. But we have to cut a very thin strip. Okay. Oh, I think I have a customer here. Alright, we're going to wrap this over. And then the last portion here, we can wrap over here. Alright. Give me a second, my customer's outside, so I gotta go. And then this, because of the angle, it's kind of coming out, so we're gonna cut this excess out here. Okay. Alright, so there we go. We got this all wrapped up. We're gonna go ahead and put this back together. Alright, let's reassemble this thing. We'll zoom out. Okay, we got the computer here. Alright, let's zoom in. Oops, zoomed in too much. Alright, so the fan just needs to go back into place. They have this little tab, so make sure it goes back under there. Hold this out of the way. Okay, we'll get this back under. And now we got to get this back in. Also, the fan is going to hold the metal plate itself in place, so you don't really need the adhesive, but yeah, it's nice to have it just so it holds a little bit better. Okay, this connector, line it up. Alright, this is going to be tricky here. Let me see. I don't even know how I'm going to show this. My hand's probably just going to be in the way. Alright, so get that lined up. Oh, this is going to be tough, isn't it? Okay, let's see. This plastic is going to be the issue here, so I might need to peel this plastic away. I don't know if it will go back on. That's the problem. I mean, I can put normal tape there. It's not, again, it's not going to melt even if you use normal tape, but alright, let's see if I can get the connector in first. Maybe that will help. Okay, get that in, latch that down. And then, oh, okay, there's enough room to angle it, so we'll kind of rotate it, then rotate that back in. There we go. And I think that should be, yeah, that's in all the way. Latch that down. Okay. Was it always like kind of bent a little bit like that? I don't know. All right, anyways, let's go ahead and get the screws back in. I'm going to loosely fit it first and not tighten it all the way down. Okay, again, we're using the PH0 or JS0 screwdriver. So you got that screw in. We'll get this screw in, loosely fit. Okay, we'll get the metal plate back on top like this. Alright, again, we'll loosely fit the screw. And loosely fit this screw, okay? Alright, now that we got all the screws loosely fit, I like to pull the fan. You can see there's a little bit of wiggle room here. I like to pull it as close to the heatsink as possible, and then we will go ahead and now tighten the screws down. Okay. Just like that, and the last screw. Okay, pretty simple. Now, we're gonna go ahead and put the cable over here back on. Okay, so this, make sure everything lines up. You can see how the connector is kind of a little bit far in there, so make sure you line it up right. You can tell like it'll kind of drop into place, so kind of wiggle, there you go, and now it's like not really moving. Click it down. All right, so same thing with this cable, make sure it's lined up right, and then make sure, and then click it down. Oops, sorry, click it down. Okay, so make sure it doesn't wiggle around and like slide around, because otherwise you're gonna try and smush the cable down at a weird angle and you can damage it. Okay, so we got that. Next, we're gonna go ahead and get the battery back in. I don't think we disconnected anything else. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get the battery back in. We're not gonna connect the battery yet because we don't want there to be power until we're done screwing everything into place. Okay, so just line this up. Drop this back down. It is gonna kind of smush on top of the speaker wire. That's kind of how it was, so yeah, but I'm gonna try and tuck it so it's a little bit out of the way, just like that. Lower this down. Okay, again, we have the wireless antenna wire here. We can go ahead and tape that so it's out of the way. All right, let's go ahead and get the battery screws back in. Okay, I think these are actually PH1 or JS1 screws, so we'll switch back to the right screwdriver. Okay, just like that. Tighten those down. Make sure this is in good. Okay. Put this in. Alright, this one. This one. Oh, this one, the plastic's also falling out, so take that out because we don't want that falling off inside the computer and then potentially falling into the fan and causing issues with the fan not spinning. Okay. This one. This screw, it's like not, it's just spinning non-stop, so the threads on the metal actually are bad here. Anyways, we're done with that. So we got to get the connector here back in place. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. All right, so this one, line up this connector first over here. Again, you can move it around, and then once it kind of stays in place, then you can go ahead and push it down, just like that. Then we can go ahead, if you want, make sure this goes behind the fan, not on top of the fan. You can tape that down. And this piece, kind of just make sure it's kind of going around the fan, okay? Again, not on top of the fan. And then you can go ahead and stick that down as well. All right, we're pretty much done. We got to get the battery connector lined back up and pushed down into place. So the battery connector, I can look from the side. Might have to wiggle it around a little bit to line it up. Oops, sorry, I don't even know if you can see. But here you go. Line this up. Oh, I might have to... I might have to readjust the battery screws. So Let's go ahead and undo the screws a tiny bit. Looks like we might have to pull it up slightly or forward a little. Okay. Alright. Line that up. Why is it not reaching quite far enough? I don't know why, but the battery connector doesn't seem to be lining up right. It's not reaching far enough. So maybe I gotta undo the screws more. Didn't change anything. That's so weird. Okay, this screw just came out. Alright, we're gonna pull this battery up. I'm pushing it this way. Okay, nothing really changed here. So why does it not quite reach? Or am I just seeing it wrong? It doesn't look like the connector is reaching. Strange. Okay, I gotta pull it slightly and the light is flashing, so it's, oh, there we go. Okay, so make sure that's in, press that down. Okay, this light was like kind of flashing. We'll get these screws back in. Okay. And then we'll power it up, make sure everything is good. But there shouldn't be anything weird. All we did was grease the fan. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the bottom cover back on. Alright, just like this. And again, we had some T5 screws, and then we have different screws that we're going to be using as well. So, since some of the screws went missing. Alright. And I'm going to actually apply, again, the red thread locker to keep the screws in place. Let me see if this screw will fit. Most likely these are going to be, the ones I have are PH1s. So, should be able to, yep, okay, these fit well. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and get some red thread locker. Again, I know somebody's going to be like, that stuff's permanent. It's not, okay. Alright, anyways, we're going to put a tiny bit on each screw here. Line it up and tighten the screw down. Good. These screws are bigger, so they do stick on top. They don't sit recessed like the original screws. But it's better to have screws than no screws, so. Okay, I'll get that screw in. Alright, and the other screw is a PH0. Not that yours is going to be like that, yours is going to be all T5 or Torx 5 screws, okay? Okay, there we go, it's holding nice. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to the T5 and put the remaining original screws back in. Okay, I'm going to take the corner screw back out, add the thread locker in there. Just like that. Alright, and the last screw, then we're going to power it up, make sure it's working, and we should be good to go. Alright, last screw here. Alright. And hopefully now those screws won't just fall out by themselves. Flip this over. We might have to plug it in to power it on. Oh, actually it's turning on already, so we should be good to go. It's powering up, and that's pretty much it. Just check for the fan noise. Okay, so the fan is still making a little bit of noise. I think because maybe the metal housing of it got a little bit bent, so I might have to adjust that. I don't know if you can hear it. Yeah, so I'm probably going to have to adjust that. I'm gonna take the bottom cover. I should have done that before. I'm gonna take the bottom cover back out, and we're gonna see to make sure it's the fan that I think it is. Okay, we gotta make sure. Now I put the red thread locker, and then I'm gonna have to probably do it again. But that's pretty much all there is to it. I'm just gonna double check the fans, and I'm gonna run what do you call, Prime 95 on it to make it run as hot as possible. That way I can test the fan spinning at full speed and make sure it's not going to be having any issues. Okay, so not really much else to it. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Alright, if you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. I also have another channel called It's Been Reviewed and More. Actually, this fan might be the one making that buzzing noise. So maybe I should take this fan out as well. Yeah, this fan is the one now making the other noise, which might be it's hitting some dust. So I'm going to shut this down, and we're going to, I guess, work on that fan as well. Okay, so we'll shut this down. Okay, so I guess you get to see both fans worked on. I'm going to shut this down, make sure it goes off completely. Okay, fan's still spinning. Power still on. There we go. Green light shut itself off. We're going to go ahead and peel this back up. Disconnect the battery connector again. Okay. And now we're going to again hold the power button for 15 seconds to drain any residual power. Okay, sorry, I know this video is going to be a lot longer than expected. Alright, we'll hold it for a few more seconds. Okay, and let's go ahead now and check the other fan. This fan, it spins just fine, so my guess is some dust is under there. So let's go ahead and take that out, okay? This time I'm not going to be taking everything out. I'm just going to be getting out the stuff needed for this fan. So we'll take out this metal bracket again. Okay. Come on. Come out, metal plate. It's not as magnetic as I'd like it to be. Alright, and we got one screw under here. And we got one screw under this here. Be careful, I'm using the screwdriver to lift the tape flaps up. Be careful if you don't know what you're doing. You want to use something non-conductive, okay? Because if you're not careful, you can damage something. Alright, so we got that. Again, I showed how to disconnect this cable by pulling this latch. Let's see now here if I can show this. I'm going to use the little plastic tool here to kind of help pull this cable out. But we basically got to lift this fan up and out. Okay, and we're going to pull this cable out just like that. Okay, and let's see, this is kind of dusty and dirty as well. this fan is nowhere near as bad as the other one, but is it because this plastic is weird? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get that dust out. Oh, it might be because of this plastic. Okay, this is supposed to help stick the, what do you call, this plastic is all kind of bent out of whack, which is weird because we didn't even touch it. But this is supposed to help with the airflow, to keep the air from just going around, out and around. Okay, but I don't know, these creases in it might prevent it from working properly, so I'm just trying to uncrease it. And I'm probably gonna have to put some new double-sided adhesive on there to stick it down. Okay, that's weird. All right, let me try and spin this with the air blower. Okay, I do feel it sticking a little bit, so let me go ahead and repair this fan as well. Alright, this is actually ending up more than I anticipated. But yeah, I'm assuming the design is going to be pretty much the same. I hope that it is, because sometimes some fans, they have the fan where the shaft kind of has a lock that holds it in place. Hopefully this doesn't have that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open this fan as well. Careful with this connector. It's wanting to jump into the blade for whatever reason. Okay. Okay. I might have to rotate it and cut the other way. Yep. Okay. Alright, you get the idea. This time I don't need to explain what's going on, I think. Alright, and also I'm gonna cut from both sides this time. And hopefully that will help. Alright. Okay, so we cut that way. Let's go ahead and try cutting this way as well. Yep. Okay, so we're gonna cut the other way as well. That way, hopefully there's not gonna be any of the material. It's holding it the opposite way. Okay. Okay, hopefully that's good enough. Let's go ahead and separate this. Okay, again, like before, it seems like it actually still locks itself in place. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to get my fingernail underneath to help pry it apart. Okay, just like that. You can hear it unclicking. Alright, there we go. Let's go ahead and add some grease to this fan. Same design, pretty much. Okay, the connector is different. So I'm assuming we can lift it out. Yep, comes out very easily. I'm gonna brush this junk out. Again, be very careful with the copper wires inside. Okay, that's all clean now. All right, so let's go ahead and do the grease with this one. Same thing. Spin around. Also, now that we have this out, we can use the toothbrush to kind of brush this to get rid of the gunk in the propellers. Okay, I'm doing it off camera because I'm holding it over a trash can. Okay, so basically do this and you can see it's a lot cleaner now. Okay, Not 100% clean, but it's a lot cleaner now. All right, so next thing, again, we're gonna drip oil into there. Do it 2-3 times until there's no more greenish brown stuff, okay, coming out. So go ahead and dip this in the oil again. Here. Okay. Clean that off. Clean that off. Okay. Spin it around a bit. Pull it back up. Go ahead and wipe this. Oops. And actually not much oil came out there. Let's go ahead and do it again. Probably put a little more this time. Okay. Wipe it off, wipe it off. Get this on top. Spin it around. Okay, pull it back out. Let's get a clean piece of paper so we can wipe it and see. And this one's actually already yellow. I mean, I didn't put as much oil as before, so let me put a little bit more again. Put a little more. Okay. Let's wipe it up. Wipe the top. Get this back on. Spin it around. Alright, I'm actually going to test it also with the air thing. Okay. Alright, pull this up. Another clean piece of paper, same thing, wipe it. Yeah, you can see it's already yellow. We didn't even need to really add much there. Okay, so we'll do it one last thing to add some more grease in there. Smush the air bubbles out. Okay. Wipe off the excess. Again, use this. Push the excess out and wipe it. Alright. Now we'll just put this back together. Okay, and we'll get this piece back on. Line it up, click it back into place. Click that back in. Okay. I like how you can actually hear it click to lock in. Okay. Last one here. Alright, these ones all actually locked in a lot better than the other one. Okay. So we got that. Set this aside again. Alright. Now, let's go ahead and wrap the tape again. Just like the other one. Again, the tape isn't really necessary because it kind of click locks, and also the metal plate is on the bottom that the screws will kind of press it against the keyboard. But we'll do it just in case. We don't want it coming loose and then moving around inside. So, okay. Go ahead and cut pieces again. And just wrap it around. So wrap it on here. Stick that down. Wrap it around. Stick that down. Okay, and we're just going to go around. around. Okay. Put that on there. Okay, wrap it around. Oops, I put it too much over that. It's sticking over the fan, so I gotta make sure to peel that back up. And cut the excess off. Cut the excess off because I accidentally wrapped it too far. Stick that back over. Okay. And we'll just keep working our way around. Stick that down, wrap it around. Down, wrap it around. Stick that down, wrap it around. Okay, same thing. This one has excess going up there, so we'll cut that excess off. Down, wrap it around. All right, and one more on this side. Stick it down, wrap it around. Go ahead and put this remaining piece here. All right, so there we go. We got that fan reassembled as well. Again, I'm gonna put some double-sided tape here. My worry is this part's not completely flat, so I'm going to try and flatten it by using my fingernail on it while I'm pulling it at an angle. A weird angle. All right, that's probably about as flat as we're going to get it. All right, now I'm going to get some double-sided adhesive here. This is just some acrylic double-sided tape. Okay, and we're gonna peel this off, cut a piece there. Okay, got some double-sided acrylic tape here, and we're just gonna stick this down. Stick that down, and now we should be able to put this back together. So I'll take this. All right, I'm going to go ahead and peel this protective coating off. All right, and now we're going to have to get this back under there. Oh, it's hitting the screw mount here, so we got to raise it up. Pull this up slightly, line it up so that the fins are all covered. Okay, and this should go in there. Okay, let's stick that down. Good. All right, so we'll push that so it sticks down all the way across. Okay, let's go ahead and get the fan back in, and then we'll power it up, make sure it looks good. All right, so this kind of cable's in the way a little bit. We're gonna have to go ahead and get this in first, okay? So it does need to go underneath. Can't really put it on top. Lift this cable up. Oh, Oreo, are you okay? What is going on? Put that in, okay. now that's lined up, we can go ahead and push this piece back down. So grab the both sides and pull that back together. All right, so there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and get this tape out of the way. Oreo, what's going on? Okay, we're gonna have to peel it or pull this plastic layer up to get it back on top of the fan. Okay, just like this. Work your way over. Good. Get this adhesive out of the way. Here we go. Okay, if you want, you can go ahead and pull this again. Make sure that the cable is going in all the way as much as possible. And then again, pinch this back down into place. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and get the screws back in. Again, we're gonna loosely fit them first. Okay. Okay. Get the metal plate here. Line that up. Get this loosely in. And this one loosely in. Okay, pull that into place and then go ahead and tighten the screws down. This time we will listen to it before we put it back together. Should be good though. Beyond that, if it's still making noise, then it's gonna be probably a new fan, or we have to see if we can somehow bend the metal plate apart, but you can see it spins well. Okay, let's go ahead and get the battery connector back in. I don't know why this battery connector is so difficult to line up. Okay, there we go. Push that in, stick that down. All right, make sure this is all in place. Looks good. All right, let's go ahead and power it up and listen to the fans again. Okay, the keyboard is lighting up green, so we're good. And there's still a slight noise, but it's a lot better now. There you go. And that's pretty much it. We're gonna go ahead and get the bottom cover back on. Actually, let's go ahead and run Prime 95 on it. Oh, that one random speaker screw fell out. All right, I'm gonna run Prime 95 on it and then we'll listen to the fan again. All right, so I'm running Prime 95 and Furmark, and here you can see the fan. So it's just normal fan noise. It doesn't have the grinding noise that the customer originally brought it in for. It was like going like, but now it sounds good. All right, so that should be it. I'm gonna uninstall those programs and we should be good to go. I'll put the bottom cover on. You already saw how to do that. So again, hopefully this video helped you guys out. Thanks for watching. Again, like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade or repair their devices as well. And if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. And yeah, if you can't help out that way, again, watch a few of my other videos, like and comment on those as well, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. I also have another channel called It's Been Reviewed and More, same profile picture but zoomed in because it's a close look at things. I currently put those videos on this channel as well, but in the future it's going to be separate, most likely. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, anyways, let's see. That's just about it. I'm just going to delete the stress test software. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this is a touchscreen laptop. So yeah, if you're wondering, this one cable that I wasn't sure what it was, that's for the digitizer, I'm pretty sure, touchscreen. Okay, anyways, you're welcome to stay. I'm going to put the last screws back in. I mean, again, you already saw how to do that, so it's nothing new, but I figured I'm going to be doing it anyway, so let's go ahead. Alright, we'll get this screw back in. Okay, yeah, that screw's not going to do anything, so I don't know if I should even leave it in there. I mean, it'll be held in by the cover, but it's a little bit scary having a loose screw. So actually, let me get a little tape just to hold it there so it doesn't move around. Okay. But we'll leave the screw in there. Okay, so we'll get a piece of tape there and just stick it in place. And I always like making release tabs on the tape by folding a piece over on itself. That way if I ever need to peel it off, it's easier. There's going to be a tab to be able to peel it up. Okay, so we'll put that in there, and that will hold that screw from falling out. And when you go to put this back, you do have to slide it in like this, okay? So make sure that you slide it in. Double check here that there's no gap. All right, and you should be good to go. Okay, they already have a little bit of the thread locker on there, so we don't really need to put more. All right, I'm gonna do the 4 corners before I tighten it down. And that's pretty much it. All right, this ended up being a longer repair than I was thinking it would be, but in the end we got good results, so that's good. All right, and also if you heard when I turned off the programs, the fan slowed down pretty quick, so that's how you know the thermal paste is still good, and you don't need to really worry about changing it out. Okay, there we go. In good, and the last 2 screws, and we're good to go. Again, thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. All right, let's drop this spike.